Hey, good morning. Welcome to Pagitt Radio.
Good morning.
It's the end of June, Victoria Lynn.
It is.
Victoria Lynn is with us here in studio, as is intern Quincy. Hi, Quincy. Hiding back there if you're watching on the Ustream. Quincy is the millennial in the mix.
She is.
This is like Gen X radio. That's what we should call this.
She's gonna bring a fresh new perspective.
Remember when Gen X was the happening thing?
Yeah,
remember when
a couple
were,
decades ago.
Yeah, when people were proud and they would be like, we got to reach those Gen Xers.
When we were young,
marketing
and firmer.
Yeah, we were totally the people. And now it's you, Quincy, with your hip little glasses and this very fancy case for your MacBook Pro, which is to describe it to a listener, it is like an encyclopedia book. Would you say, or even older? What do you call that? What do you call that look? It's fantastic. It's like a big book with like tattered edges and a zipper around it that holds it in there. So it looks like she's carrying an old science book from 1890.
Special collector's edition.
Fantastic.
From Majors and Quinn's books in their special cases.
Yeah, do you think is that what it looks like? Is that what they do over at Majors and Quinn? They
have like
they
a
sell those books
section up the stairs.
like a book that's so heavy. It's fantastic. It's the mashup.
Took two cows to bind it.
It's the millennial mashup.
That's right.
Apparently that's what they're all into. Is that true? Is that true, Quincy? You millennials? What aren't you
like
guys
mashup of what old
just any old thing, like you take old things and you mix songs together and you
I know what a mashup song is.
So what
I
mashups
do
are.
know that.
Yeah, well,
but
just mash up anything, right? It's always it's like old glasses with hip shoes and the whole sort of.
So when we do that, does it just make us look old? And
it just looks like you couldn't afford an entire look.
I do really wish I had my old John Deere bike with fenders from the 70s because it would be pretty hip right now.
You'd be happening.
Yeah, I'd look really great.
What'd you do with that thing? You sell it in the 70s?
I accidentally left it in the basement of a rental unit in college. So, all right.
There you go. All right, our weekly adjustment of the microphone. Talk right into that thing.
All right.
A lot going on. We were off last week. What did you do in your week off?
I was mostly sick. But
I'm
sorry. Better now. Thanks.
I'm sorry. So you didn't get to enjoy the week of reprieve?
No.
On the Doug Pagitt radio show?
No, I did not. I was not enjoying it at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you back to full strength? Are you at 30% strength? Are you at 100%? Where are you? Today.
40%. Maybe 50.
Like if you had a little battery charger indicator on yourself, like you have on a phone or a computer, it'd be at like 44%.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours of battery life left. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the worst. I remember a year ago I was quite sick too, and I was remembering that feeling of like not sensing that one has a whole day's worth of energy in them.
Yeah.
That's a daunting.
And did you find this too?
Condition,
like
isn't
everybody wants you to feel better, so they keep asking like, "Are you doing better?" And you really want to say,
"Oh, they do, yeah."
Yeah, I'm doing great, but I'm not.
Yeah, they want updates. It's a funny thing, isn't it? People and their desire of updates. How you doing? What's new?
I know
that whole
like,
that whole.
I went to another
thing.
Doctor and I got another medicine.
Yeah, well.
But it is interesting, kind of the fluctuation and navigating the wonderful things about relationships that people care and they want to help. But yet they can quickly move into advice giving and not being helpful, or they feel helpless, and it's hard to figure out how to help, and then you're like, you just don't have the energy to assuage people's worries.
So they should do it like this. Oh, you're sick, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the show today,
exactly. That's just like that. It's better than.
I mean, there are times, aren't there? And and
know.
Who knows? Who knows with this? Well, on the show today, truly.
Yes.
A couple of conversations. One called "Talking Taboo," a new multi-author book put together by Aaron Lane and Anuma Okoro. I know Anuma too. Anuma Okoro. But that's a tongue twister for me.
That's a little hard.
It shouldn't be.
That's a lot of vowels.
It's the way people feel about when they see the word Pagitt and they're not sure what to do with that G. So I understand.
I know. Try
But
Hillique. Peterson
yeah,
Hillique.
Tell me about it. Try spelling that thing. It's like a word scramble, that last name of yours. Victoria Peterson Hillique. I don't know if there's dashes. I don't know. You've got punctuation in the middle of a name. Who has punctuation in the middle of a name? And John Shelby Spong, non-punctuated. We should ask Bishop Spong about that.
No hyphens, no commas.
No, he's just got, and he goes by Jack.
You
like
good
if
to
you
know.
If you know Bishop Spong and you're a personal acquaintance and a friend,
you would call him Jack.
You wouldn't. Yeah, you just call him Jack.
I'm not going to call him Jack.
No, you don't know Jack.
Call him Bishop
you don't know
Spong.
Jack.
No, I don't. That's true.
Bishop Spong is going to be on. He has written a book on the fourth gospel. And to give a little taste of the provocative nature of this book, he asserts at least 4 things. He asserts that the Gospel of John never intended to make Jesus a human container at which the external deity has chosen to dwell. My language, not his. That not a word in the fourth gospel is actually a quote from Jesus. It's all other material that people put together.
Yep, from another source.
From another mother. None of the miracles that are listed there are miracles or even happen like that. In fact, they're signs. First of all, he would want to argue they're signs, not miracles. And you shouldn't ask, like, how in the world did he correct the retina deficiency in that guy's eyes? Because that's not the story,
retina deficiency.
Right? It's whatever else was going on. And the characters don't think of them as people that actually existed in the cosmos,
they're literary
in the world.
Tropes.
Yeah, they're just a part of a story. Stop asking, like, I wonder what it was like when Nicodemus went home.
Yeah.
They're no home. Like, he's just a character.
I mean, when I was a kid, this is how I always read the Bible.
Well, that's why you struggled with your faith. The Gospel of John, he would also say, was written by a whole bunch of authors, layered in one on top of the other, a big mashup, a big millennial mashup, a big Quincy-like MacBook inside of an old encyclopedia cover, mashup over time, and quite provocative stuff. And it's not like John Shelby Spong is not even interested in talking about, like, is there a physical resurrection? He walked away from that question 35 years ago. He's like moved on to other things. But here's what I find to be intriguing. He would say, and I'm going to ask him to articulate on this, that his commitment to understanding both Christ and Christianity, this is his quote, one with no separating barriers that does not bind me into the creeds of antiquity, is as strong as ever. He's more interested in being a confessing, faithful Christian now than ever, and thinks all those things about the Gospel of John.
Thank you for translating that passage, because my mind went blank when you read that quote.
When I read my commitment to a new understanding of both the Christ and Christianity, one with no separating barriers and that does not bind me into the creeds of antiquity.
I couldn't hang on to a single word.
Charlie Brown's parents. So it's going to be he at the 11 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
John Shelby Spong.
I'm looking forward to talking to him.
The book is called, let me read upside down, The Fourth Gospel, Tales of a Jewish Mystic. It's a great title.
I know, I love it.
I love when people have good titles. Nothing, I mean,
this whole idea jealous?
You can't judge a book by its cover, that's people that don't know books. Oh, you can judge a book by its cover.
Now, I thought you hated covers of books, that people shouldn't look at the cover or pick by the cover.
Only of my own books, because I've never been happy with them.
Oh,
I don't think that of anybody else's. That's all I do is look at the covers and the thumbnails and decide.
Well,
if that's
I know. It always
book.
kind of surprised me.
Oh, really?
No, that was the thing. Oh, it's just you don't like any of your, not even Christianity worth believing.
Really? No.
No. Okay.
No.
I'm just checking.
Should have been called Wild Goose Chase. For years, I've been.
Well, write that book now.
Yeah, it's the same book. It just should have a different cover. But anyway, this is a good one.
Yes.
This little one. Hey, a little news out of Doug Pagitt Radio world.
What's that?
I'm entering into a entering into a partnership with Pagitt on this Pagitt.com, this online community and religious conversation portal.
Mm-hmm.
Trademark Doug Pagitt Radio. They try to steal that. Anyway, whatever they do over there at Pagitt, right? They have this way of creating these communities and
all
conversations.
All things religious, right?
And
it's a portal to religion.
Yeah,
of all
much broad.
sorts.
More than one
All
version
kinds.
of religious articulation. Lots of them. Different traditions,
Lots
different
of
cultures.
blogs,
Lots
lots
of
of
blogs. Lots of. They're coming out with a premium version. Do you love it when there's like a premium version of something? You're
Yes.
like, oh, and what the rest
Do
of
you
us?
get to be a
who's-
card
Oh,
carrying
it just taps
premium
in.
version?
It just
Do you-
taps into the elitism in a lot of us. Like, I want the premium thing. What do you mean? You think I'm the kind of guy that's going to be satisfied with the common run of the mill? They're offering a premium blog feature where a subscriber, in my case, will pay $4.99 a month to be a part of this premium blogging community.
Yeah.
As a participant. And so what I'm going to do is do it around inventive age leadership.
Nice.
Inventive age is my term for the current period we live in. If one could break North American history into
As
the
a-
agrarian age, the industrial age, the information age, and then I would suggest now we're in the inventive age.
Which is catchy.
If you wanted to keep it all together, you would say the idyllic, the industrial, the information, and the inventive age. But
Yeah.
nobody else calls it the idyllic age.
No,
turns
it's
out.
problematic.
So, agrarian, information. The 3 I's post-agrarian age is how I've
Yeah,
turned
right.
how I've turned the corner. So anyway, this sort of notion that there's a way of organizing, there's a way of starting efforts, there's a way of functioning in the inventive age, and this is going to be the deep secrets, the hidden truths,
It's like the Gnostics.
the Gnostic truth that can only be found after
For-
subscribing for
For only
$4.99.
$4.99, you get the
Yes.
Gnostic
For-
truth of.
I mean, it is such a bargain. The truths that will be availed to the community of inventive age leaders at the premium blog over at Pathos that we're making available for $4.99 is without a doubt worth $6.99 a month.
I think you had a
Without a
lost
doubt, it's worth
career
$6.99 a month.
in infomercials. I
$9.99 a month, people would gladly pay, but no, $4.99 a month, and it's going to include weekly chat room. No, not a chat room. What is this? Quincy, when are we?
What is this,
1997 right now. Chat room. When you hear me say something that sounds like a middle-aged man, holler back. A chat room.
Pinch him.
Really?
Start throwing things at him.
It's going to feature an AOL chat room that you can access through your Netscape browser. Unbelievable. Talking about the Clinton impeachment, a chat room. That's unbelievable. It's going to involve a regular online learning community. Videos, live feeds, conversations, case studies, additional interviews. Bill Riley's not the only one who gets to have a premium apparatus where you can stay later.
Apparatus. So who
Pay
made
more.
You swallowed a dictionary this morning.
Well, it's that book back there. It's got me intimidated. I got this encyclopedia of MacBook carrying case
it's
hanging over
radiating special
over my
words
head.
to you.
So anyway, it's going to be,
It's gonna be great.
the regular listeners of Doug Pagitt Radio won't be able to avoid knowing when it releases. They're going to be peppered.
Are they going to get
They're
like
going to be-
special frontline
Oh, of course.
reporting?
I'm gonna offer I'm gonna offer special things only
To Doug Pagitt Radio.
to Doug Pagitt Radio listeners
So
and
lucky.
everyone else, but only to them and everyone else. See, that's how you market things. You just use words and then give them another meaning. Only you and everyone else.
Yeah.
Because who wants to be selfish?
Right.
That's how I'm going to pitch it. Of course, the special deal you're getting, everybody else should get, because you don't want to be selfish.
Right. I love it.
So $4.99 a month, and that's going to ring up every month in your PayPal account or on your credit card or your bank draft.
You won't even notice.
However, $5 a month.
Cost
I mean,
of a mocha.
Netflix, old television shows, and fibbing documentaries that cost you $7.99 a month. So
This is really.
this is quite a value. It's quite a value. So anyway, that's going to be coming, and I think it's going to be sustainable, and I think it's going to be fun. Announcement number 2 for Doug Pagitt Radio listeners. Victoria Lynn and I don't know if intern Quincy is coming with us to North Carolina. Quincy, you're not coming to North Carolina, are you? I don't think so either, unless we need someone to carry our bags, 'cause that's what the interns do on trips.
Get us
We
coffee.
would have to be like, somebody get the intern.
We should be getting Quincy coffee. I think she's gonna
Quincy has
Quincy's
access
bags.
to the Doug Pagitt Radio page too.
Yeah.
Did you find the Doug Pagitt Radio page on Facebook there, Quincy? Facebook.com/Doug Pagitt Radio page. You can post on there. We're going to be in North Carolina live at the Wild Goose Festival on the Friday of the Wild Goose Festival, which I think is August
The 8th, I think.
Could be maybe 11th or something like that.
Here, I can tell
We're
you.
going to be live broadcasting on the 9th of August at the Wild Goose Festival for a couple of hours. So it's going to be it's going to be our previous state fair version. So we're going to have lots of people coming through, we hope, sitting down with us, chatting. We're going to have radio fun.
We can have prizes.
We're going to have prizes. Yeah, we're going to have lots of
Can't
prizes.
wait.
We're going to probably have some version of a dunk tank or something that you do at these things.
I'm not
So anyway,
going in a dunk
Victoria
tank.
and I are going to be at the Wild Goose Festival,
Just
where
like to be clear,
where
no
people-
dunk tank for the sidekick.
where people live in a field. In this case, it might be a campground.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in a different. It is in a different spot this year, and it seems like the temperatures are going to be a little milder. Could that be true?
I have no
Did I
idea.
make that up?
I have no idea.
It's across the street is a spa with
Really?
like hot springs or something.
Oh.
I think we should.
So
go
if you're not already going to the Wild Goose Festival, wildgoosefestival.com.
meet us at the spa.
something com or org is a place, and yes, come and participate live in the show. If you're a regular listener and you want to be in contact with Victoria, Lynn, or myself ahead of time, we would love to have you do a junket as a co-host for 10 or 15 minutes. If there's somebody particular that you want to interview, here's what I think would be fun. We have listeners who are there at the Wild Goose Festival, and they would get to interview a special guest.
Oh, that'd be so
you know,
great.
like say they suggest, hey, you should really talk to to Bill Kumquat over there, or whatever his name is.
Love that.
And I would like to interview him. So they would take the apparatus. We'd show them how, and they would do the Doug Pagitt Radio interview.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So listeners, if you're going to be there and you want to run an interview with someone, let me know, and we will set it up. We'll get the intern on it.
Yeah.
She can. Victoria, you have no idea, or Quincy, you have no idea how much I wanted to have an intern in my sort of sphere.
You're meeting
An
a
intern
deep
and a
psychological
secretary,
need.
like golly, 80s.
Oh, I would
Back when you
thought
could
you
have that
want
kind
a
of thing.
secretary or a personal assistant. Do you want?
Well, no.
You want a 50s secretary who was all of those things.
Yes, I don't want
Who
someone
got
who
your
wants,
dry cleaning and took your calls.
I don't want somebody who's like thinking about this as like, well, no, I'm really a personal assistant, not a secretary or an administrative assistant. No,
Yeah.
But like Dr. Phil says, if you really wanted something in your life, why don't you have it? So maybe deep down, I really don't want to have a secretary.
I was thinking this last night in the middle of the night when
I
I
really
couldn't
do,
sleep,
though. I
and I
really do.
thought my blanket wasn't right, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go out and buy a new blanket tomorrow because I don't like my blanket that I sleep with.
And
I've
you just
never liked
you're
it.
just not tolerating
like,
it anymore. Ain't
No,
nobody got
that's
time
it.
for that.
That's right.
Not putting up with
Look
it.
out! It's the
Look
new
out, world.
Victoria.
Victoria's busting out of the
Stepping
gates. She's illness affected and she's running wild.
That's right. I'm not putting up with this anymore.
Victoria running wild. Hey, how about that President Obama? How about that guy?
What do you think? What do you want to talk about? The environment?
Well, here, all right. So two things: an upside and a
Okay. What do you got?
Mr. President, you're killing me. I just think he shouldn't gripe and complain as the president about every time the Supreme Court does a ruling he doesn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's contentious issues that bring themselves all the way to the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
Things don't get to the Supreme Court if they're dead blank simple.
Right.
Drives me nuts. Like the reason the Supreme Court takes it on is because the other judicial system, the other parts of the judicial system have elevated it to the Supreme Court where some contentious issues need to be decided.
It's the American way.
And then for the other branches of the federal government to be griping about it.
It's a little unseemly.
I just find it to be,
It just seems kind of...
And then, so this in this case, the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
which I would have liked to have stayed in place. And as I understand it, Congress is welcome to put into place other restrictions on those very states that have trouble with their voting right. They're not getting rid of the ability of Congress to put the pressure. They're just saying the standard that you used, you need to refresh it, as I understand the argument. But anyway, so that always gets me.
Yeah.
Right. That just kills me.
You don't like whiners.
I don't like, especially in that role, right? Like you're supposed to.
Oh, okay. You can whine if you're in some roles,
You know,
but not
yeah. Look,
if you're
if you're a congressperson, and you're like, hey, we made that law, and now you've said it's unconstitutional. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fair enough, right?
Okay.
Okay. So you say I hold the other position. That's okay. I just, I have this very idyllic view of the president. The president's supposed to be the president of all of us.
Yeah.
And I want there to be a 6-year presidency where you drop all party affiliation.
Yes. We know. We talked about that ad nauseum.
The only guy I'm holding tight.
Election.
I'm holding tight. Yeah. I think winter should go away and we should have a 6-year presidency and all the guns should be melted down. Everybody with me?
The paradise.
And you know what else
Pagitt.
should exist?
Pagitt's
And I should turn this into its own video. Its own video. You know what needs to exist for people that own smartphones? Quincy, intern, do you own a smartphone?
Of course she does.
Right.
She's a millennial. They were born with smartphones.
Well, let me ask if you think this would be a good idea. And Victoria Lynn, you tell me if you think this would be a good idea. You know what they should sell? When you buy your smartphone, they should say, would you like I'll put a dollar amount on it, $15, $25 a month upcharge. Would you like to have a paired flip phone that attaches to your same number? So that when you want to take your flip phone and leave your $600 device at home while you say go to the beach,
this is like your spare
go
key.
on a run, you can turn this phone on and text and get phone calls from it. It just rolls over your number to this other phone. And we'll charge you $25 a month to be able to have that. When you have one on, you'll determine, in your settings or something, you can determine which phone is prime. Or let them both ring.
I think that's pretty brilliant.
How is it not possible for me to be able to have a little flip phone? Now, I've got a little crush on the flip phones. I think they're the greatest thing ever. The idea of pulling a flip
we're
phone,
noticing.
just pulling a flip phone out of your pocket and flipping it open and dialing and calling.
Flip phone since the,
I see people with them. I saw a police
2000.
officer the other day flip open a flip phone, standing on a street corner, made a call, and I was like, God, that's a great look. But anyway, I just think you should be able to have a burner phone. You should be able to have a junker. You should be able to have one that if you get sand on it or drop it or kick it,
you can replace it for
the idea that
$75.
I spend whatever $75 or $85 or $100 a month on this phone line to give me all this. I sometimes I just want to have a phone that I can call and text from for 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day or something. I don't need my full internet connectivity. So I don't understand why AT&T doesn't say to me for $25 a month, because some sucker like me, I couldn't say, I don't know for you, but if maybe it's on your parents' bill, you'd be like, Mom and Dad, it's way cheaper, way better for me to not break my phone.
Well, and then there's the people who have a tendency to lose things.
Sure.
They shall remain unnamed, protect their privacy.
Let's
hypothetically
not embarrass anyone. Let's just call them Victoria Peterson Hillique. Just
for them to have a little spare in between the losing.
Oh my gosh, it would just. There's nothing about that is not a good idea as I see it.
No.
But I also think we should melt all the guns down, so I might be missing something.
It's possible, but I think that's big of you to admit that might be the case.
I mean, at $15 a month, even $20, like in addition to the insurance, or maybe even instead of the insurance, you say to somebody, "Hey, would you like to have this little phone that you could also make calls from that would allow you to connect?" I just think it would be fantastic. Yeah. So anyway. President Obama, hang tight there when the Supreme Court, just a little advice. If you're watching the Ustream, you're doing a great job. Please.
We appreciate
it. Here's where he gets the right on, though.
Yeah.
There's things going on with this Snowden that released the details about the spying.
Yeah.
Which, if anyone's surprised that, the government's been nosing around and listening, really? Like shocked? Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Obama was asked, what are you going to do about it? They got him over there in the at the airport,
Yeah, aren't you going to go pluck him up.
He had a great line. The line was, I'm going to try to say, this is how I remember remember having heard it, but it was something like, look, I'm not going to scramble the jets to go get a 29-year-old hacker.
Yes, it's pretty much what he said.
Great.
It was
I'm not
fantastic.
going to scramble the jets to go get a 29-year-old hacker.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, are you kidding me? This guy thinks he's going to rise to the level where the president of the United States is going to be negotiating to let some Soviet spies go out of our prison so that we can, like, pal, if you hear that silent hovering over your head, you know, you didn't say anything about not sending a drone, though. That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, well,
So
there's that.
So anyway, a lot going on in our world. You know, the Supreme Court,
Doma is
way to go
down.
on Doma. Way to go. And you know what I would have thought the conservatives would be saying? This is what I would have thought my conservative friends and the pundits would have been saying. See? This is what they should be saying. We told you that Bill Clinton was not constitutional in his perspective because he signed a law that's not constitutional because that Bill Clinton, he doesn't know how to follow the Constitution.
Line of rhetoric
You would
for
think
him.
that's what they would be arguing, but they can't because they're the ones who were supportive of the very law that was unconstitutional.
Well,
It's a confusing world we live in, and for a long time we had a silly law.
Yeah.
Silly law.
Silly.
Now, I learned something about this week that I
what
didn't
was
know.
that?
Yeah, I learned. I was caught by some other people, like some other people, in this confusion about why does contract law, which says you sign a contract in one state. Quincy, you probably learned this in your advanced government classes because you're a smart kid or ahead of time. If you sign a contract in one state, the interstate commerce clause says other states have to recognize your contract.
Right. You can't just then go from Iowa to Minnesota and say,
And be like,
sorry,
well, yeah, we
I
don't need
have to do that anymore.
There's no contract.
That's
That's settled law, right?
Right.
People in civics classes, they all know. So a big question for a lot of us was, well, so like this is so obvious. How does it even get to the Supreme Court? As it turns out, a marriage is not a contract.
Oh.
Yep, it's a license.
Oh.
And licensure does not carry from state to state. So if you're a teacher with a teacher's license in Wisconsin and you try to come to Minnesota, you now have to follow Minnesota licensure rules. If you're a plumber, you have to re-license in every state. So the marriage is not under contract law, as it turns out in our civil society. It's under licensure. And different states get to say what their licensure rules are. How about that? I followed this for a long time, and it was 48 hours ago that I found out, well, you know, why this thing, like, somebody's not paying attention.
So, like, if I go to Texas and there's different licensures, does that change my marriage to my husband?
It can if you were married to a woman.
But it doesn't change it in terms of if you're married to a man.
They happen to say, we will accept the licensure of any heterosexual couple.
But not for
but we make a
same-sex
determination that we won't accept it for another. So like as a clergy, if you have you're licensed in the state of Minnesota by your little church or denomination or club, you can perform wedding ceremonies. In other states, they'll say, "Oh yeah, we'll accept that here too." And then some states would say, "No, you have to do our little rules." Like licensure gets very confusing, and as it turns out, marriage is a license. Isn't that confusing?
Yeah,
a license?
Yeah.
Like you get a license?
Like a fishing license.
You get a license to get married? Like you get a license to... That's so funny. Like
yeah, what else and
what's crazy is I have signed hundreds of marriage licenses, and at the top of them they say marriage license. Like it's right there as clear as can be. But I didn't understand for some reason that's what makes... marriage not
sometimes
a casualty of contract law.
Used to the words that are used that we don't think about what they mean anymore.
Yeah, and I found this out by people who work in this field. There was they were talking about this, and to them they're like, "Oh yeah, honestly, are you kidding me? Yeah, that's how this works. Like it's a license. Like the rest of you didn't know that. Yeah, duh. So hey, we're gonna be back with Aaron Lane and Enuma, and they're gonna tell us about the taboos that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about lots of
Should be
taboos.
Fun.
Yes.
I like taboos.
Yeah. We're gonna play a little game of taboo with our friends. So stick with us here on Doug Pagitt Radio. If you're watching live on the Ustream, which you can get over at the DougPagittRadio.com, pagitt.com page. If you're watching live, you can just keep watching, and it'll just keep coming. If you are listening, you're going to want to roll over to the next Spreaker. And if you're watching on the video, pre-recorded on the video, recorded now, and you're watching it later in some sort of crazy time warp, then you should roll to the next one. So stick with us.
Dark Pagitt Radio. Really